The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Friday in the Riv, and we've got
And for our religious people, it's Good Friday.
It is Good Friday.
And this was also Passover this week, so it's been a busy week for many of the people who are faithful.
Yes. Well, we've got a pretty big show here today, as always, and we've got some, because things are popping on around the city. We see pre-campaign propaganda already.
Yep, it's already coming out.
Paulie Pockets has been on the radio. Actually, someone was supposed to have a soundbite that said Paulie actually had the audacity to say on I guess Tion's show, we'll get it, but we'll have it on Monday in its entirety, that he said that in the long term, high rents are going to be a good thing for the city of Fall River. That's mind-bogglingly insensitive to poor people. So what he's basically saying, in case you voters who say, why should I go vote? You get out there and get rid of this guy, because let me tell you something. What he's saying is that if you're poor, I only want rich people in this city. If you can't afford high rents, we don't want you here. We don't want affordable rents. We don't want fair rent. We want high rents. And if you don't like it, you can, go jump in the Taunton River, move to New Bedford, or somewhere else where they really care about the people. So listen, this guy, he is the biggest con artist I've ever seen.
Well, one of the comments that we've gotten on our show, because we always talk about affordable housing and making it livable, is we're not totally against market rate housing. We believe there should be a mix, correct? There should be a mix.
Oh, listen,
absolutely.
Every community,
right?
Every community has market rate housing because the affluent people tend to go. You look at Boston. Back Bay's always had high rent.
Right.
Because Back Bay's where all our rich people live.
Right.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Knight, the guy who had the Knight Network,
yep,
he lived in Back Bay because the 100 Club was there. When I had to take people who died on line of duty for that up there, because he used to give them a tremendous amount of things, give them amazingly. The 100 Club is a great thing. But the reality is that there's always been market rate housing. And it's, this is absurd. But you don't have a city with only market rate housing. As you see, we have a late appearance at the city of Fall River. Over here, and it is our man in the street, Nelson. So we all know who Nelson is, so you don't have to introduce yourself, Nelson. But we're on this.
We're sorry, we started a little early.
No. I realized it was 8:55. The bus was getting close. But I was starting earlier, so I got here as quick as I could.
But we were talking about Paul's comment, which supposedly we had about in a long term. High rents are good for the city. I don't know maybe they're good for a city that is totally inhabited by rich people, but it is not good for the average city, because as you said, CJ, every community, except places like Newton, or Martha's Vineyard, because you saw how long poor people lasted in Martha's Vineyard.
24 hours.
So they were gone. But the reality is, normal cities have a mix They have lower income people, they have moderate income people, they have rich people, but not in Paulie's world, because remember, Paulie only likes the doctors, the lawyers, the bankers, the developer friends,
That's right.
everybody with richies. But I think Nelson has this queued up to play here.
Yes, absolutely. Here we go. And this is the. I'll let you hear for yourselves.
Rents are brutal right now. Rents are brutal, but at the same time, it bodes well for the city long term.
There you go.
It bodes well. High rents bodes well for the city because
Long term.
Long term, exactly. So, you know, their plan is to gentrify Fall River and turn it into Newton and Boston. But that ain't happening because no matter where you go, in any state in the union, anywhere, not every city's a Newton. They have, you know, Pittsburgh's a city mixed, you know, steel mills, Gary, Indiana. There are blue-collar cities all over. Paul doesn't want this to be a blue-collar city anymore. Paul doesn't want any poor people in this city, and it is a travesty because I'm going to tell you, this city has a history, and these people don't care about the poor. Paul Coogan doesn't care about the poor, and all his friends don't. So we're going to go back into history today because, you know, I like my little handouts here. So you see this picture? It's hard to see. It's a grainy picture because it's from, I think, 1915, circa 1915. This is, and I will read you the associated comments with this thing. Fall River Historic Photo Club. Photo from the Library of Congress. Boys scavenging Fall River, Massachusetts, and part of the National Child Labor Collection circa 1915. Christy Stubbs, 11-year-old scavenger in the Pine Street dumps, lives at 14 Plain Street. This truly depicts the poverty of the times. His father died when Christopher Christie was 4 years old, and his mother had to raise 5 children on her own. Picking trash, and we have, now we're gonna go in, it's not, this is 1915. We're gonna go back to, we're going back in a way back machine. 1883, because these people see, Paulie Pockets is forgotten. He's grabbing his 120 G's, his pension, living in a Bobby townhouse, banking all his cash for now, and he's going to bail out to some place that fits him where there's all rich people. But this is it. On October 18th, 1883, Thomas O'Donnell, a mule spinner at Fall River, testified before the Committee on Capital Relations. I have a brother who has 4 children besides his wife and himself, and he earns $1.50 a day. He works in the ironworks in Fall River. He only works about 9 months out of 12. There's generally 3 months of stoppage. $1.50 a day for 9 months to support 6 of them. It does not stand to reason that those children and he himself have natural food and be naturally dressed. His children are often sick, and he has to call in doctors. O'Donnell was asked how he supports his own family of 4 on $133 a year. He replied, I got a couple of dollars worth of coal last year and knew what I picked up myself. I goes around with a shovel and picks up clams and wood. Say, what do you do with the clams? We eat them. I don't get them. We just have to eat them. And it goes on and on. And you know something? When I see some bum who grew up in Fall River and forgets this history and wants to throw these people under the bus in 2023, it aggravates the crap out of me. You know something? It aggravates the crap out of me. And this is what they care about. Here's another one, and I'm going to turn it over to you guys because I got a big announcement coming. Raphael Kuna. Okay, we get the dancing posts. Landlords in 2005, all you need is first month $500 and a $250 deposit.
Oh, I saw that, yes.
Landlords in 2015, all you need is $850 and the last $850. And the deposit, $850. Landlords in 2023, all you need is 3 times the rent. The first $1,900, the last $1,900, a $1,900 deposit, a credit score 750 or higher, which eliminates virtually every renter in the city, right? So, okay, 750 or higher, no evictions in the last 12 months, no pets, no off-street parking, no backyard, no utilities included. Late fees are $50, application fee is $65, non-refundable, and maybe you need a 3rd day job. So, you know, Coogan is running a day camp for the rich. Come to Fall River, make as much money as you can, and screw all the regular people in Fall River. He doesn't care about you. This proves it. The fact that he thinks that high rents in the long term are good for Fall River means he only wants rich people in here. It's code, people. It's code. Okay, with you, that's it. You guys can hit it because I got an announcement later on. Big one, too.
You know, look, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that things have jumped in a short time span. Okay, I could understand if it took 10 or 15 years to get to where the rents are right now, but I guess we have to show, you know, the people. Okay, this was the rent, $918. Okay, this was, according to United States Census, this was the median gross rent just 2 years ago. And then you fast forward to today, it's this.
I just want to let you know I didn't have the time to do this, but but that is approximately, and I'm fairly good at math, that is approximately an 85% increase in the rent.
2 years.
85% increase in 2 years.
2 years.
So everybody was bitching about an inflation rate of 8.5%. You've got a rent increase of 85%. I'll do the math quickly later, but it's around 85% increase because you just look at the number, you know.
1703. I mean, that's a huge increase, and it's just and keep in mind we are just a few $100s away of what Newton pays for an average rent over there. It's over $2,000.
Yeah, they're barely over 2.
Right.
They were like, I think the last time I looked, it was like 2023.
There you go. It's just they're in that bracket. We're getting close to that bracket, and the average household income for our city is in the mid 40,000s. So this is getting out of hand. So you know, it doesn't take someone.
According to a most recent economic report, Massachusetts is the 5th most expensive state to live in the country.
Yeah, and yet, you know, and see the dynamic when they give you a stat like that, they don't explain how
they
don't explain it, because the bottom line is, if you look at some, like, well, not in all of those states, the impact is always disproportionately on the median and lower income peoples, because you got the high rents. And of course, you got rich people in Boston. They don't care. They're still living there, and they're going to go to a Newton or a Wellesley or a somewhere. They're not coming to Fall River. As much as these delusionary yo-yos are trying to pretend that, they're going to fill this thing up with people from Brockton with their subsidies, and they're going to fill it up with people from the Newport Naval Base. But you're not getting some Boston yuppie to come down here. The reality is, as you said, you know, we're the 5th largest, and our own governor said when she was running, the biggest problem we face is we got people running out of Massachusetts, let alone people can't run out of Fall River. They can't afford to move. But anybody that can move is moving out of the state, because affordable housing for everyone in this state is becoming a problem, except the ultra rich.
Right.
And this is nuts, you know. And nobody can, but most of the cities are doing something about it. Mitchell, Boston's they've got the rent control stuff. They're dealing with only Fall River, this rabbit hole that we live in down here with the propagandists that pretend that there's no problem. You just keep building no affordable housing, just market rate housing, and it's good in the long term. You know why? Because they're going to get rid of you.
And that was the whole plan from the start. And I just want to say, before I hand it off to you, it's just, in just 2 years, the rents have practically doubled. There's a problem. And,
85%, that's pretty damn close to 100.
So I kick it off to you with your grand announcement. And
no, CJ's got some stuff to add here.
It's actually it's terrible when you start looking at this. I mean, when you look at food, eggs, $8 a dozen. $8 a dozen for eggs.
yes.
I mean, that went from $1.89 a dozen to $8 a dozen like overnight. And they said, oh, it's because of the avian flu. Well, now the avian flu's gone. Well, we don't want to lower the price of eggs yet because we may have another problem. No, you don't want to lower the price of eggs because you're making some money off the eggs.
Of course.
You're making back the money you lost from the avian flu. Yeah. Milk. Milk has been pretty stable because in Massachusetts we're lucky. We have subsidies to the milk industry, to the dairy farmers. So because of that, the milk rates are pretty stable. We don't have to worry about it. But when you look at orange juice went from $2 to $3 almost overnight.
No, yeah.
And it's not even for a half a gallon. It's for 58 ounces.
Yeah, look, you're right. It's insane, CJ. To give you an example, I won't name it, but you can figure it out. There's a fast food chain that only has fish during Lent.
Right.
So I figured I'd take a ride down there and get
I know which one you're talking about. You like that place.
Well, not anymore. I'm all done. Well, I took a ride down there, and I said I'm going to pick up a couple of fish sandwiches because Easter the fish is going to be gone. It's normally good, and I'd say it's normally good. So I picked up 3 fish sandwiches and a soda. And the 3 fish sandwiches, they were like hockey pucks. They must have been under the warmer since 8 o'clock in the morning. And this was in the afternoon. They were horrible. I threw them away. And I'm filing a complaint with the company and telling them it is a disgrace to serve food like that to people. But you know what? Three fish, no French fries, nothing else. 3 fish sandwiches and a soda. $23.50.
Mm-hmm.
$23.50. You used to be able to 3-4 years ago, you could buy 2 shrimp Mozambique dinners with rice, with fries, with bread, and with shrimp. And it's like, and people, they don't care. I'm going to tell you how bad it's getting. There's another candidate that is thinking about running, and I got this the other day, and I couldn't believe it.
Really?
And here it is. Here it is. Look at it. And I'm going to read you what it says. Hi, I'm Cooganocchio. I promise to give you a $6 million tax break. I promise to be transparent, and I am not Jaisal Correa or Paul Coogan.
Oh, wow.
So if you see this individual walking on the streets, he may be trying to get signatures for a run for mayor. It's always good to have competition. So, Cooganocchio, if you decide to go forward with your plan, I'll sign it. I'll even sign Paul's papers, because I've always gone on record and said, listen, I will sign anybody's papers that wants to run, because it's their right.
That's right.
And you shouldn't need 300 signatures or 150. I've always said that too. Yeah. But the reality is, I'll sign anybody's. Doesn't mean I'm going to vote for them. People say, oh, well, you signed so-and-so's papers, and you always crucify. No, well, I'll sign anybody's papers. I don't care. You want to run? You see me, come up, hand me the paper, I'll sign it. It's your right to run. I think everybody that wants to run should be able to run. So, but hey, remember, you got a pretty distinctive look. So if you see this man, remember, he may be your next mayor.
You know, and we all know what the two biggest things that Paul ran on was, I'm not Jason Correa and I haven't stolen anything.
Right.
Well, he's half right because you're not Jason Correa, but yes, Paulie, you have stolen from the people, and that will be proven with documentation. But already, the Cooganites on social media, fake profiles and all that, are already hammering Sam that he doesn't know anything, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and all this stuff. And the last show, CJ, remember how I referenced that there were numerous articles that showed that Sam was part of good things.
Right.
And what are the big things right now? It's crime and shootings. So I took the liberty of doing some research, and this is what I found. Okay. Look who's standing behind Sam and the former mayor. Police officers. Right? Doesn't that build morale?
Yeah.
That would build morale.
I would think so.
And they got the charts there to show the graphs going down. Okay, look at that headline. Fall River sees 3-year, reduction in crimes and shootings. It's uncanny. It's uncanny. So, you know, look, Sam, just like Jordan, Sam will have the opportunity to put out his new vision of how he wants to do if he's given the chance, second chance to run the city. But again, I will preface my comments before he sets out on his new adventure, if he's reelected, is to put out a forensic audit, lay it all on the table for the people to see, so that he don't get blamed from Coogan's mess. But this is just one example of someone who clearly understands and how to work with others on a problem.
Well, look, just let me say, look, the only good thing about this propaganda, it's coming on Radio Pravda and through the Herald News and media outlets that people don't listen to very much anyway and don't trust what they say. It's pretty obvious. To actually accuse a guy that was a DA and ran a very successful DA's office, a guy that actually works for a living, goes to court every day and earns a living on his merit, because if you don't win cases, you don't get cases.
That's right.
When you say he doesn't know anything, and you're looking at a guy that couldn't even make principal when he was in the school system and has worked as a political tick in the most patronage-riddled place in the world, the school department, and has done nothing for the city, allowed the police department to disintegrate before our eyes for 3 years. And then what's this thing? Oh, it's a national problem. Well, I don't care, it's a national problem. You were there for 3 years. You didn't see people were leaving. Your manpower was going down. Crime's 100%. The schools are 335th. Paul Coogan is not running on his record. He's running on attacking everybody else and trying to project. See, what they're doing is projecting in psychology. In case you didn't study psychology, projection is a defense mechanism where you project your issues on someone else. Well, they're projecting Paul's incompetence and trying to hang a guy who, and you know that I went toe-to-toe with him a few times at meetings because I was a small government guy, and he'll have a platform now, supposedly, that's going to say he's learned, unlike Paul never learns anything, because obviously he's still trying to cover everything up. He's not transparent. He doesn't... You're going to project that he doesn't know anything. A guy who's well educated, he's got, I think he graduated from Brown. He's got a law degree, has worked in a real job in private practice and as a DA. And as he said, he got numerous
3-year
things.
drop in violent crime.
There were articles all the time about him, about the reduction in crime, working with outreach programs. He's done something, and that's up to him in his campaign to put that out there. But I mean, the absurdity and the desperation of the Cooganites. I'm going to tell you, I don't know what Cooganocchio does, but I know he was probably more successful at it than Paul Coogan. Because Paul Coogan never was successful at anything.
Well,
he couldn't even make principle.
I'll tell you right now, one of the things that has been coming up, and I've been hearing it from several people out in the coffee shops, out in the supermarkets, you know.
In the real
Walmarts.
world.
Yeah, in the real, where real people are, okay, that they're afraid of giving Sam another chance because of what he did with the trash fee. And they had defense there, which was great. They said, no, what he did with the trash fee was to maintain public safety.
Yeah.
That's what he had to make a choice, a trash fee or lay off police and fire. He chose to add the trash fee. Granted, that may not have been acceptable to the people of Fall River, just like the purple bags weren't acceptable to the people of Fall River. But if you remember, and we said this on Wednesday, Paul had said that he's looking at the trash fee.
Yeah, and the other thing is that people don't understand, and look, we understand it. Look, people they have a visceral reaction.
Right.
They're upset. But you got to remember something. This wasn't Paul Coogan taking over a city, which he said was, you know, he needed stable. It didn't, because Cliff Ponte took over. The city was fine. As a matter of fact, the city was really fine because he still got Jazel's surplus funds. He didn't take off a city that was chaos. We had a public relations issue. We had a mayor that was facing criminal charges,
Right.
not for not running the city properly, but for doing some stuff that had nothing to do with the management of the city of Fall River. So again, it's another Coogan lie, a spin. I had to take the city over and it was all in chaos. No, you didn't. I mean, Cliff Ponte did more in what, 3 months, 4 months? I don't know how long he was in. He fired somebody. He fired somebody immediately. He fired Joe Camara's brother.
Right.
He got everything stabilized, and Coogan walked in with an $8 million surplus, and everything was fine. And then he used this stuff for cover. But listen, remember, Sutter got in thanks to us and our recall. But he got stuck, and I want to explain this to the people. He got stuck in the middle of somebody else's term.
Right.
Remember, he got elected on December 16th, which I always remember because you know it's my birthday. You know, the recall was December 16th. He got sworn in shortly thereafter. But remember, Flanagan had already had a term. There was issues with the budget. There was a shortfall of $8 million projected, and he had to do something. And I will say he made a mistake. He didn't surround himself with Fall River people, but he said, listen, I got to make a decision. The decision he did make, and you got to look at it in this perspective, is he chose not to reduce fire and police
Correct.
to protect the public.
Right.
Now, you got to remember, he didn't have a lot of time. If you elect him and give him a full term, then he will be able to say, okay, I'm going to find out what we got to do, and I've got
Right.
time to do it. So he was under the gun. He made a decision, which, okay, and not everybody will, obviously it was a close election. Not everybody agreed with that decision, but I'm going to tell you one thing. That's one decision he made. That's one decision more than Paul Coogan's made in 3.5 years.
And I just want to say real quick, too, is that they're getting desperate because now they can't attack him on the trash fee because Paul was on camera saying, having he not received, his scratch ticket, he was going to bring back the household trash fee.
Right.
And then he said that on camera,
And so did his chief financial officer.
And
the chief financial officer also said that they were looking at the purple bags.
There you go.
Okay? So I don't want to hear from him that I'll never bring back the purple bags because that was one of your plans. So
And it was on a laptop.
That's right. It was right there. It was in the PowerPoint. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. You have a great weekend and a happy Easter. See you on Monday. Bye-bye.
Cooganocchio.